Uh-oh. Okay, we'll start with this. It was officially announced earlier today what additions Most Valuable Promotions has made to their stable of Valkyries. They've gone ahead and signed former Matchroom alum Ramla Ali, Unified Bantamweight Champion Dina Thorsland, Nat No Love Dove, an unbeaten up-and-comer in the Super Flyweight division, and Naomi Valle, unbeaten Naomi Valle, from the light flyweight division. We're going to do this in segments, analyzing each signing and the virtue of each. So when it comes to Naomi Valle, she reacted by saying, "This moment means everything. MVP has been a game changer for the women, giving us the stage, the respect, and the spotlight that we've earned. To now be a part of this incredible team is a dream come true. I'm proud to represent Costa Rica every time I step into the ring, and now I get to do it on an even bigger platform. Thank you to everyone who's believed in me. This is just the beginning. Let's work, let's win, let's make history." So what's the virtue of signing Naomi Valle, and why did Most Valuable Promotions decide to sign this particular light flyweight? The virtue of signing Naomi is that she's only 20 years old and she hasn't been a professional that long, so she's just getting started. She has a lot of upside. Her entire boxing career is ahead of her, but it helps that she comes from a well-known fighting family in her native Costa Rica. Her more famous older sister, 3-division champion Yocastia Valle. The audience in Costa Rica is already familiar with the both of them, and it helps that Naomi just won a Costa Rican version of Dancing with the Stars. So not only do the boxing fans know about her, but the casual audience, they know about her too. Sporting an unblemished record of 14 wins with no losses, no draws, 9 knockouts, they've managed to squeeze in 14 fights in the first 3 years of Naomi's young boxing career. That's good, because that means some of the work has already been done. Some of the development. And that was all without a major promoter behind her, without a Most Valuable Promotions, so that with them acting as a megaphone in this part of the world, she'll get that much more exposure. Last in action earlier this year, in March, she's already fought once this year and 4 times last year. All on her own. With the current situation, before MVP comes into it, they've done a fantastic job of keeping her busy, keeping her active. Campaigning in the light flyweight division, where Evelyn Bermudez currently reigns as a unified champion. Lourdes Suarez of Mexico has the WBC title, and Sarah Bailey of Canada has the WBA title. Any one of these 3 fighters is who young Naomi would have to go through to win an alphabet title. Some of these fights are more winnable than others, but that is the lay of the land at this time. Here and now, the weakest link in the light flyweight division would have to be Sarah Bailey, only because Sarah has 5 professional fights. She literally has less fights than Naomi does, so if you wanted to target an alphabet title, that would be the one to go after for Naomi, ideally. But because Naomi hasn't actually fought in a 10-rounder yet, I would schedule 1 or 2 of those before you unleash her on Sarah Bailey. She's got a fan-friendly style, Naomi. Just like her older sister, she's an action fighter. Mid-range to inside fighter with good physical dimensions for a light flyweight. But like I said, because she hasn't fought in a 10-rounder yet, you don't want to go jumping the gun. Remember, she's only been a professional boxer for 3 years, and she's only 20 years old. Some of the work has already been done, but there's more work that needs doing before you so decide to fight for a title. With a 20-year-old fighter, there's no need to rush. There's no need to thrust her into situations where she may be in over her head. With a 20-year-old fighter, you can take your time. And it helps greatly that this is a 20-year-old fighter that already has 14 professional fights and comes from a fighting family. Now, I was already made aware weeks ago of some of these signings, like the Ramla Ali signing, the Dina Thorsland signing, but I wasn't aware that Naomi Valle was on MVP's radar. So that's a very good shout. That's a very good signing. And like I said, they already know Naomi in her neck of the woods. She already has some celebrity there. With MVP acting as a megaphone for this fighter here in America, that amplifies the exposure she can get to where maybe, just maybe, she might surpass her older sister, Yokastia, who's not only well-known, but very accomplished. She's already a 3-weight champion. If they play their cards right, you never know. Naomi might surpass Yokastia. So we'll see. This is a very good signing, and Most Valuable Promotions continues to carve out their own lane for their own brand in the sport of boxing, and I'm confident they will serve as a powerful ally to this unbeaten up-and-comer.
Shakur won the last fight. We were supposed to fight Saudi Arabia May 4th. Somebody said it was too soon. So...
May 4th?
Yeah, on the Canelo undercard.
Wow.
Arabia.
Wow. So, breaking news. Breaking news. So why do you think it was too soon?
Oh, that's what the other party said.
That was William Zepeda's trainer and handler, Panda Nahar, implying that Shakur Stevenson swerved a May date to take on William Zepeda after this weekend's fight, provided that William makes it through it. And I think he will, but the boxing community at large isn't buying it.
They think Panda's lying?
They think this is damage control. A Twitter user that goes by the name Black Mamba 187 said, "This video is misleading. Shakur just said after his last fight that he needs time off to heal his hands. He said that he came back too fast and that he needs to talk to other fighters like Floyd and Paulie to see how they dealt with their own hand issues." And I do remember that he said that after the Joshua Padley fight. Shakur Stevenson busted up his hands again, and he needs time for them to heal. Another Twitter user that goes by the name Zaven said, "I don't believe anything those guys say. Shakur has been publicly asking for that fight for the last 2 years. In addition to that, Tevin Farmer stated that Zepeda was not drug tested after their last fight, which is questionable due to the level of output from Zepeda. It's shady."
So these are just my thoughts. I think that Team Zepeda knew that Shakur Stevenson would not be ready to fight in May, and that's why they're putting this out there. They know that his hands are busted up. They saw the same comments that we saw.
They knew he wouldn't be ready, but that's when they chose to go after him. When they knew a fight likely won't happen, so that they can then turn around and tell the media all of this stuff is damage control to save face, because they know how they look.
How they've been looking. To a lot of people, it looks like Team Zepeda swerved Shakur Stevenson, that they were supposed to fight on more than one occasion, but something always happens.
So now what they're trying to do is turn the tables on Shakur. Knowing that he wouldn't be available for May, knowing that his hands are all busted up, that's when they decide to put this out there. I don't think that they're afraid of Shakur per se.
I never have. It's not him that they're avoiding, it's the anti-doping tests. You know that if you fight Shakur, Matchroom is going to pay for the anti-doping testing. You don't get to have it all your way, like you just did with Tevin Farmer.
You don't get to play the A side like you just did with Tevin Farmer. You fight Shakur Stevenson, you're little more than just the challenger. As the champion, he's entitled to the lion's share of the pot. He calls the shots, and I don't think Golden Boy wants that.
Remember that Oscar De La Hoya helped the fight to ransom for a signature from Shakur Stevenson. That wasn't that long ago when he said, unless Shakur signs to Golden Boy, there ain't gonna be no fight.
Now this fight has always intrigued me because William Zepeda has the right style to make a pure boxer like Shakur very uncomfortable. That kind of volume and that kind of output It's enough to keep any pure boxer's guns holstered because we all know that pure boxers' motto is safety first. They're safety first fighters that want to fight at a safe distance, only throwing 1 or 2 punches at a time as to not get drawn into a war. And opposite the ring, a guy like William, you might end up in one because he's going to throw so much at you so often, if it doesn't wear you down in terms of the damage, it may wear you down in terms of the pace.
Might be all right moving around the ring from one end of the other for the first couple of rounds, but in the middle and towards the end, you might gas out, you might start getting hit, taking damage.
Seen it before. Seen it a million times. We saw it in Barrett versus Rakimov. We saw it in Rashidi Ellis versus Roman Villa.
Beterbiev versus Brown.
Joe Smith Jr. versus Jesse Hart. We've seen it a gajillion times to where the pure boxer's kryptonite is the come forward aggression and volume and output of the pressure fighter. The pressure fighter isn't as subtle, doesn't have as many bells and whistles, but it's their persistence that makes them lethal for most pure boxers. And Shakur is a pure boxer.
William is a pressure guy. Stylistically, it's an intriguing fight. Could William be the one that gives him his first loss? We'll never know because these guys are playing games. And that's what I think they're doing. They're playing games. You've already avoided him 2 times. You wait up until he's injured so that you can act like you wanted to fight.
But if you think he's a legitimate threat to Shakur Stevenson, then why would they have avoided him?
Because it's not really him they're avoiding. It's the anti-doping testing. That's what they're avoiding.
Keep telling you, I don't think it's him they're afraid of. It's the situation. You fight Shakur Stevenson, there's gonna be anti-doping testing. Ain't gonna be on your terms, it's gonna be on his.
And I don't think Golden Boy Promotions wants that.
And this is the kind of stuff that the major broadcasters are walking away from in this part of the world, in this boxing market. The audience is fatigued from seeing fighters go back and forth on social media, their managers, their promoters, just all of it. Because it's boring.
The he said, she said.
It's boring. You don't have to deal with this in any other organized sport, whether it's NHL or NFL, NBA, MLB.
Things happen the way they're supposed to happen and when they need to happen, whereas in boxing, it's always something, isn't it? Especially in this market.
So you can get ready for a bunch of content creators, just like me, that are going to upload videos with their takes, their opinions on it, and this is going to go on for weeks and months in the absence of a fight. In place of a fight.
A fight that was supposed to happen a long time ago. A fight we were supposed to get last year.
Still unclear when exactly will William Zepeda challenge someone for an alphabet title, because for whatever reason, it doesn't look like it's going to be Shakur.
Shakur is always my number 1 for 135, for sure.
I saw the face-off. You said you'll never fight him.
Nah, I wouldn't.
Yeah, but just go up.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not going to be at 35 for long.
Yeah.
Shit, well, I was pro for 3 years now, shit.
Keep it 100, though.
I see.
Gotta keep it 100. do you not want to fight him because you feel like you could whoop him in there?
Ah, hell nah. I mean, no.
Okay.
I don't want to fight because I just don't.
Because that's what it just sounded like. Like, I'm going to be up at 140 soon. I'll spare him. That's what it sounded
hell
like.
Nah. I was saying because I'm just knowing, like, people, this is just the beginning of, like, the kickoff of, like, my career.
Yeah.
You know, like, when a lot of attention is getting on me, this is, like, the kickoff, you know, the turning point. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got many more years to go. People not going to be talking about this. You know what I'm saying? This is just the beginning.
It's more, yeah.
I got 140 and 47 I could touch. For sure.
Thanks.
For sure. You know what I'm saying? So this is just the beginning.
This is what I thought would happen. Keyshawn Davis is not going to have an extended stay in the lightweight division anyway because physically, he's actually a bigger guy than Shakur, bigger than Gervonta, bigger than the other lightweights at the weight, and he's on borrowed time at 135.
His body is still growing. His stay at 135 is the same as Shakur Stevenson's stay at 126 all those years ago. It didn't last that long. Just long enough that he got to an alphabet title and then he moved up.
It's the same with Keyshawn Davis. He just got to the brown belt. He just became WBO champion, and he'll probably defend the title once, maybe twice, then move up. And I'm really not against it.
But what about him saying that he doesn't want to fight his buddy? Aren't you tired of hearing guys say that?
I actually am, but he's not the only one. I mean, I remember that Yanni Kanalai was asked if he would ever fight his countryman, Gennady Golovkin, and in so many words he said no, because he looks up to him. I remember that Denis Berenchik.
Because he had a title at 135 and so did Loma. he was asked if he would ever fight Loma, and in so many words, he said no, that there are other fights and other champions to target besides Loma.
It's not exclusive to American fighters, this sentiment. We've seen it here and there when it comes to some other international fighters that would rather not fight their countrymen, and I don't like it.
But at the same time, Keyshawn Davis ain't the Davis that Shakur Stevenson needs to be fighting. He needs to be fighting Gervonta Davis. That's the fight that's long overdue, not Keyshawn.
And because I never thought Keyshawn was going to stay at this weight all that long, I'm not broken up about it anyway because it's in keeping with my expectations. I actually like the idea of him moving to 140 because 140 needs a shot in the arm. There are too many boxers there, too many thinkers like Sandor Martin, Jack Catterall, Arnold Barboza, Richardson Hitchens,
Alberto Puello.
These are all thinkers, movers, boxers. Where are the action fighters? Where are the action guys? 140 used to be looked at as one of the deeper and more dangerous divisions in boxing, but it's sort of quieted down in recent years with this proliferation of movers and jabbers.
Before you had more punchers like Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis, Jose Ramirez, Mighty Mo Hooker.
Whereas now, it's a lot of movers, a lot of jabbers, a lot of thinkers, and I'm sorry to say that don't make for an exciting division when you got too many of those kinds of fighters at the same weight. So Keyshawn moving up there would liven things up a bit.
That kid's star is rising, and it's rising fast because he, unlike a Shakur Stevenson, he's an action guy. He's an action fighter, a spiteful puncher with a big persona.
So that he could go up there and mix it up with the boys up there, I think he's going to do all right. Because, like I said, he's big for 135. Big enough that he'll really fill out at 140. And 140 might actually turn out to be his best weight or one of his best weights.
Where he is in his career right now, and not having to shed the extra 5 pounds to make 135 at 140, I anticipate his power will carry and he will be even stronger, even faster.
There are a lot of conversations about this. When exactly is the right time for a fighter to move up? And Keyshawn's not a guy who spent too much time at 135. He stayed there too long, like people say about Devin Haney.
Can't say that about Keyshawn.
He ain't been at 135 all that long. So 1 or 2 more fights, he goes up to 140. It's a good move, and it might be time to do it, at least based on his body.
At 140, Alberto Puello has the WBC. Gary Antoine Russell has the WBA.
Teofimo Lopez has the WBO, and Richardson Hitchens has the IBF. By the time Keyshawn gets up there, the world title situation may be slightly different, because where Keyshawn's thinking about moving to 140, Richardson Hitchens is thinking about moving to 147.
Whatever happens in the upcoming Lopez versus Arnold Barboza fight, a fight that I view as a potential banana skin, is Teofimo going to stay WBO champion? And if he does, is he going to stay at 140 or is he going to move up?
The way it looks, Keyshawn might end up vacating the WBO title in the not-so-distant future. Maybe William Zepeda fights for that.
Keyshawn moves up.
Teofimo either loses the title to Arnold or keeps it, but then vacates it. He moves up to 147, and then maybe Keyshawn can fight for that, for a newly vacated WBO title. Could break down that way.
Either way, the pieces on the board are on the move.
To where if Keyshawn's not staying at 135 and not fighting Shakur Stevenson, well, that's what I expected.
That's what I thought was going to happen, so I'm not really mad about it.